The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. When Judas had left them, Jesus said, "Now is the Son of Man glorified, and God is glorified in him. If God is glorified in him, God will also glorify him in himself, and God will glorify him at once. My children, I will be with you only a little while longer. I give you a new commandment. Love one another as I have loved you. So you also should love one another. This is how all will know that you are my disciples, if you have love for one another." The Gospel of the Lord. There are, I think anyways, very few times where I ask you for something. So I'm going to pack it all into one homily so I don't have to do it for a while longer. It's not fun. It's not fun for me either. So for your troubles, I'll keep it relatively short. I'm going to ask you 4 things today. The first is we need a teacher for summer CCD to teach the little kids, those that are going into their kindergarten year next school year, and those are going into their first grade year next school year. There's a handful of them, and then the sisters will cover all the other grades. Second, our parish council members have finished serving their current term. In fact, they've actually taken an extra year on because COVID slowed things down so much. I asked them to stay on another year. And so we'll vote at the end of June to replace the elected members of the parish council. The permanent members, the trustees of the parish, have agreed to stay in place. So first, I want to thank our current parish council members for their years of service, and now it's time to ask for new volunteers to be on the ballot in June. I'm appealing specifically to the younger people of our parish. We have a lot of longtime members, older members of our parish who have done so much for us, whether it is involved with the PCCW, the Knights of Columbus, funeral meal planners, whether it's finance managers or being a parish trustee or musician or reader, acolyte. The list goes on, and I'm very thankful for all the time that they've given to our parish. But sometimes that level of involvement can make younger people and younger couples and younger families feel like they are intruding on someone else's turf or stepping on someone's toes if they want to get involved, or maybe even they feel like they don't really belong. But the truth is that the future of this parish belongs to our younger families. And so I want them represented on the parish council. I want their help. I want their ideas. I know that young parents are very busy with family things, and that's why I only schedule 4 meetings a year. And in Cambridge, those meetings are on Wednesday nights, so bring your kids to CCD, drop them off, and stay for the meeting. I keep the meetings to an hour or less. I'll even offer free babysitting if that's what it takes for the people with families to volunteer to be on the ballot. So if you're thinking of ways in which you can be more involved in your parish, or if another parishioner suggests that you would be good for that role, or if I ask you personally to be on the ballot, please volunteer your name. The third thing that I want to ask of you is to please consider signing up or having your child sign up specifically for the Tech retreat in Wahoo, Nebraska that's coming up. Tech stands for Teens Encounter Christ. It's a 3-day retreat, a Friday morning to a Sunday afternoon. I know it's a long way away. You might say, "Father, there's one in McCook every year. Why don't you just go to that?" And that's true, but it's almost always scheduled during a very busy part of the high school sports year. So that's one reason why the McCook one might not work out. Or maybe your son or daughter or grandson or granddaughter they've heard that their tech retreat is boring or stupid from someone else who's already been on one before. And not to brag, but to that I say, that person has never been on a tech that I have directed. I am directing the one in Wahoo. It's June 3rd through 5th. It's open to all students who are going to be sophomores, juniors, and seniors in high school, and also it's open to students who are going into their freshman or sophomore year of college. We kind of mix them all together. I do tech a little bit differently than other directors. We have random dance parties. We have lots of games and laughing, and you'll get to hear from a lot of amazing people about their life stories that are inspiring and uplifting. And tech is the only place where you will ever hear the full story of my vocation, how I became a priest and who I am today. The reason for that is because the full version of my story is a little bit too intense for church. But the best part about tech is that you actually get to hang out with other Catholic people your age. I know what it's like to grow up I grew up in a town without a Catholic church, and I had, out of 56 classmates, only one of them was Catholic, at least practicing Catholic. And so it's awesome where you realize in a thing like tech, there are other people your age that share your faith and share your values in a world where faith and values are often mocked. And it's nice to know that you're not alone. And to the guys, I'll say that you will actually meet Catholic girls on this retreat. They usually outnumber the guys. And girls, you'll meet Catholic guys that aren't jerks and aren't pigs and won't take advantage of you. My brother met his wife on a tech retreat. And to the parents, I say that this is the best possible thing that you can do for your teenage son or daughter when it comes to their faith and making their faith their own. Many people who go on a tech retreat years later will say that tech was when they truly discovered their place in the church and truly discovered that they could have an actual relationship with Jesus. That's why it's called Teens Encounter Christ. So that's my third ask of you. And finally, I bet you can guess, based off of the giant screen in the sanctuary of the church here, that it's time for the annual Charity and Stewardship Appeal. Actually, it was time a couple of weeks ago, but we had a state emergency in town a couple of weeks ago, so I put it off until now. But it actually fits perfectly because the theme for the Bishop's Charity and Stewardship Appeal this year, as is Bishop Conley has chosen, the theme will be As I Have Loved You, which is taken from the gospel that we just heard. So it just kind of works out. So this appeal provides funding for essential services in our diocese that don't get that funding any other way. Things like Catholic social services, the youth ministry office, the Newman Center at the university campus in Lincoln, Camp Kateri, a whole bunch more. As always, the pledge cards are in the narthex. Hopefully there'll be someone there to help you fill yours out. If you can't find yours, there are blank ones. There's also instructions for making an electronic donation if you wish to do it that way. Check the bulletin as the weeks go by to see our goal and the progress that we've made. Remember that everything that goes over and above our goal comes back to the parish throughout the course of the year in the form of payments. And so that's something that we rely on as a parish to plan our parish budget. Of course, we have the video, but first I'll read the bishop's letter that I'm supposed to read regarding this year's appeal. He writes to us, "To the clergy, religious, and lay faithful of the Diocese of Lincoln, dear brothers and sisters in Christ, this week we begin the annual Charity and Stewardship Appeal for 2022. The theme of this year's appeal is As I Have Loved You, taken from the 13th chapter of the Gospel of St. John. I chose this line because it reminds us of the mandate that we are to love one another as He loved us. Our service and charity towards one another flows from a deep realization that God loved us first and of how much we are loved by Him. The more we stand in awe of His love for us, the more we will go outside of ourselves and give ourselves to our brothers and sisters in need. If we take it a step further, we see the perennial teaching of the faith, namely that the Eucharist is the love of the heart of Jesus. we find the fullness of his love for us hidden under the appearance of bread and wine. The Eucharistic sacrifice brings us back to the moment of Calvary where he poured out his life for us out of complete self-sacrificial love for us. Thus, there is a strong connection between charity, stewardship, and Eucharistic adoration. As we gaze and contemplate the love he has for us in the Holy Eucharist, we find ourselves inspired by charity and more desirous to love one another as he loved us. As we know, this annual appeal supports a multitude of diocesan organizations, but most importantly, the individual parishes receive the largest amount of funds. Thus, this appeal becomes a powerful way to support our parishes and help them in their mission of spreading the gospel all across our diocese in southern Nebraska. It is my hope that in choosing this theme for this year, we may be drawn ever closer to the heart of Christ in the Eucharist and find the joy and desire to support this important diocesan and parochial campaign. With my prayers for you, I remain in the heart of our Eucharistic Lord, sincerely yours in Christ, James D. Conley, Bishop of Lincoln. Give me a couple seconds to get the video started. We'll watch it.